Hello, welcome back to Garden Obsessed. My name is Carla, and today we are going to do a final wrap up of the Pantry Challenge for 2023. We started it January 1st, and for 6 solid weeks, we, participated, were accountable for every dollar that we spent. And the last 2 weeks in February, I just was burnt out. I was tired of tracking what we were eating. I was tired of tracking what we were spending, and I was done. So I do think there are some lasting effects, which I'll talk about after we do the tour. But for the most part, I would say officially we participated 6 weeks and then kind of fell off the wagon. But I'm okay with that, and I'll tell you why after. So I thought we would go in the same order, which means we're starting with our fridge freezer. So up here, I think you'll notice there are fewer things in here. Last time, there was no space for anything. You could not jam anything further in here. A lot of the things that are in here now have been rotated through, so all of this stack has been purchased since the original video. Some of the vegetables, some of the fruit. We ended up getting 15 kilograms of blueberries, so I've got them subdivided into smaller containers. We have a ham that we cubed up. Yeah, so I'm happy about how we have rotated through items. Most of the soup is gone now. Down here, there's fruit and some protein powder that we use for smoothies. Over here, there's fewer soup containers. We still have a couple here. One soup here. This is my celery, and all in all, I'm happy with how things have rotated through. Okay, in the fridge, still the same kind of assortment of things. I did some breakfast prep the other day, so there's some egg cups and some egg burritos that Jarrett will take to work. Still some root vegetables that are still going strong. Believe it or not, we still have crunchy carrots from our garden. And one thing I have learned is this is never going to be as bare as I would like it. We did get rid of some salad dressing and some other things. As soon as we get rid of it, it gets replaced, either from the cabinet where we have extra things, or I have learned Jarrett is like a sauce and condiment type person. This is minced garlic that he purchased recently. We still have garlic from the garden. We're not completely on the same page about these things, but I can concede one shelf if that's all it takes to make him happy. So that's the state of the fridge. Okay, I'm gonna give you a one-over look here, and I think this is where you will see the biggest difference. This is where I notice the biggest difference. This is much more manageable now. Things are not so overstuffed that I can't see what we have. Even the busy sauce shelf, but we'll start at the top. So I consolidated, organized, ground, whole peppers into powder in order to kind of organize the spices and things. So up top is all of our bulk and extras to refill, things like that, and everything else is looking much better. I couldn't find a really good spot to store my fermenting jar, so I just stuck it up here too with this stuff. This shelf looks pretty similar to what it did before, except now everything, I feel like everything's a little easier to see and reach and get to. it makes a little more sense to me. Not big changes there. This shelf is a lot emptier. All of the oils and vinegars now fit here, which is nice. We've freed up some space here, and I'm loving it. And especially this shelf. If you remember, like, I don't think I could have fit another can. Like, this was 3 or 4 cans deep now. That is the only layer of cans at the back now. There's some sardines shoved back there. And we have purchased, like, this coconut milk we have purchased in the last couple weeks, as well as the tomato paste, I think. So it would be a lot emptier. This shelf is also looking a lot better. We have bought rice. We did buy this rice is like sushi rice. Valentine's Day every year, Jarrett and I always make our own sushi at home. So we were out of that, so we did buy that. And this was the brown basmati. There's not a whole ton left. And I wasn't a huge fan of it, so I think I'll just buy brown rice going forward. We used up, there was a container of oil here that we used up. It mostly looks the same, but overall, super happy with how this is looking. Okay, next cabinet. There is some space up here now for jams and jellies, and I did actually make strawberry mango jam, so I did replace some jam that we had used. Also, all of the jars that were in the basement are now upstairs, so they are filling this shelf here. I think there's 4 salsas left, and I think we ate this twice, so there's like 7 green curries left maybe. We still have some pizza sauce, bruschetta, there's still pickles. There's some stuff stacked there that shouldn't be, but it is. I know it doesn't look like it, but we actually have made a dent in our tea shelf, tea/coffee shelf. My bag of coffee is almost done, so I did buy another kind, which I've never tried before. Hopefully it's delicious. And I found a smaller bowl to put our garlic in. We've got some cereal and oatmeal, and some random odds and ends, and that's about it for the snack shelf now. And even this shelf is looking a lot better. I mean, part of that is we had a big peanut butter here. It's gone now. But we have moved some of these, we've opened and moved them into the fridge. See what I mean? Like, Jarrett just loves his condiments. But anyway, a lot happier with how the shelf is looking. And then it's just storage on the bottom too. Okay, baking cabinet. I have refilled our flour once. So I think we had 8 or 9 packets of flour that I had subdivided. And now there's 7 or 8. Like, I've added 1 to the flour container. So haven't used a whole lot of flour. Partly that's because our stove is still broken. We did replace the element, and it still doesn't work. So if anyone has any ideas, I would love to hear them about what could be going on there. But anyway, we'll get that dealt with soon. And there's a few more things missing. Some, like, I had a little tiny jar of honey and some things like that. And a bunch of mixes. We had some biscuit mixes. Those are all gone now. Used up some oats. I'm trying to remember what else. I can't remember, but it's looking a lot better. And then storage down there, of course. All right, I'm not going to take everything out, but I think you can see that there is a lot more space. This was very packed when we first started the challenge in January as well, and now, like, I could fit quite a few things in here if I had to. There's very few soups left. This is the white chicken chili that I made during the challenge. This is a soup my mom made, and I think there's a couple down here. The other thing that I found that I didn't realize we had in here was these are cherry tomatoes from the garden. I don't even think it was this past year. I think it was the year before. So I had them subdivided into smaller baggies, and we used one of those to make that feta and cherry tomato, viral dish from TikTok or whatever. And it was really good. So I'm really happy that we have these. We can make it 2 more times. So, we're slowly going through things, and I think, well, I'll get to what I think in a minute, but we're still not to the defrost stage, but we will get there. All right, so that was the pantry tour. I have tried to film this, I kid you not, at least 6 times. My thoughts are disjointed from my mouth tonight. I don't know what's going on. So I've had to make little notes on a sticky note here to keep me on track. So, pantry challenge. Pantry challenge. I think it saved us a ton of money. I think it taught us to use what we had before it went bad. So there was, like, for example, I had 2 cans of artichoke hearts in the cupboard that I'm sure we bought for a purpose, which I've long since forgotten. And, it forced me to be like, okay, these have been here for a really long time. What can I do with these? Let's get on Pinterest, let's get on Google and find a recipe to use them, which I did. We made artichoke dip twice and it was amazing both times. So I enjoyed that part of the challenge. It also stopped us from eating out as much. We still did a few times, like, there was some birthdays and special occasions and things, and we're not gonna stop doing those things. But we had been eating out a lot before Christmas, and I think we had become blind to how much we were actually spending on eating out. That alone has saved us a ton of money. I think having a limit or like a tight budget on your weekly groceries actually helped us focus on what do we need at the grocery store versus what do we want at the grocery store. So, I think you'll notice, like, our shelf that we use for like snacky type things is a lot emptier now than it was before the challenge. And I think we've realized, we don't always have to have crackers in the cupboard. We don't always have to have chips. We don't always need to have chocolate, things like that, right? Like whatever your treat of choice is, those are occasional things, not staples. And I think this has kind of driven that point home. So what did I hate about the challenge? I hated tracking everything. I hated tracking the money. I hated tracking what we were eating every day. And I would like to participate in this challenge every year, but I think next year I would do it very differently. I think as far as staying on track with your spending at the grocery store, next year we will do like an envelope type system. So whatever the limit is that we're gonna try to stick to, we'll put that cash in an envelope and take that to the grocery store. And when that money is gone, we're done for the week, or, or we're having to use a card and we're reporting, that overage. But I think it would be a visual and a tactile reminder to stick to the plan and the budget. It was kind of difficult. Like, both Jarrett and I purchase groceries. He does the majority of the grocery shopping. That's just how we've divided our bills. But I will pick up things on occasion. And what my plan is, I may not have communicated to him, and sometimes there's a disconnect in, what we need versus, whatever. Like, things go awry and maybe not necessarily to plan. So I think having one envelope with all of the grocery money in it would help, focus us and make our communication a little better. I also hated tracking everything we ate for every meal. I think next year I would just, like, breakfast is, you know, the same 5 things over and over. Lunches are typically leftovers from supper or a sandwich or something like that. So I think, you know, dinners is the interesting part and where the most creativity got expressed. And I think next year I would only deal with the suppers as far as making the videos and reporting to you guys, you know, what we were eating and making. And I think that would cut down, like, I got really burnt out on tracking all of the dollars and cents and, you know, everything that we were eating and preparing. And I think it would lighten the load significantly next year, and maybe we'd be able to make it to the 8 weeks instead of 6 weeks. So would we participate in the challenge again? Absolutely, and I think we will. I really enjoyed the mind reset that the challenge provided. It helped, you know, take off blinders to what we were actually spending and focus in on things that we actually, you know, are actually needs, not just wants. And I think it's also helped focus, you know, garden goals for this summer. I would like to see us eating more things that we produced this time next year than we were able to this year. I think we're more than capable, and I think that is a good challenge. And if you're just getting started and you're wanting to do something like this, like, I remember one of the first years that I gardened, my dad and I had like a little salsa competition, and I think tomatoes were the only thing in that salsa, and maybe a few peppers that I actually grew and put into that salsa. And it was like, okay, I'm making a goal. Next year, I want to grow all of the things that is in this salsa recipe. So I want to grow the onions. I want to grow the garlic. I want to grow the apples. We have the apple trees. We don't have any apples yet, but the plan is in motion, right? So start with something small like that. And, you know, I feel like every year I've just added, you know, a little bit more, a little bit more. You know, one of my other goals was, you know, aside from the turkey, I want as much of the Thanksgiving dinner to be from our garden as possible. So I want to grow the carrots. I want to grow the potatoes. I want to, you know, and every year we get a little closer, a little closer, a little closer, and we do a little better, a little better, a little better. So I think that's a great goal for next year, and that's going to be my goal, is for the pantry challenge next year, I want a lot more things on the shelves that we actually produced here at home. So I hope that wasn't too disjointed. I hope you found something enjoyable in this video, and I'm super glad you joined me on this journey. I thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.